Hello and welcome to A Little Crafting. My name is Annie and this is my bi-weekly podcast where I talk about all the things that I've been making in the last couple of weeks. Today is the 30th of May 2021 and as it's a beautiful sunny day I've opted to record in my garden, which is lovely, hopefully not too bright for you all. There'll probably be some outdoor noises around. It's a nice quiet day, so I thought it would be the perfect time to record outside. In terms of admin, you can find me on Instagram as a_little_crafting and on Ravelry as Ankiwoo. So unfortunately I haven't been that productive over the last couple of weeks, so I don't have any finished objects, but also I'm obviously not wearing any knitwear today because it's absolutely boiling. So we've been blessed with beautiful weather, but that means I can't wear knitted items. I will be able to when I finished my linen top though. So I will start off with works in progress. The first work in progress that I have is one of my 52 hats for the year. I have challenged myself to knit 52 hats this year and I will donate the proceeds, either the hats or the money generated by selling the hats, to charity. So this is the first one that I have been knitting and the pattern is Anka's hat, and it is a 1x1 rib and then you've got sections of just stockinette stitch in between to make these kind of ridge sections. The yarn is Knit by Numbers by Arbon. And that is a DK yarn and the colourway is number 85. Now Knit by Numbers yarns are really nice, they're nice and soft. This one is Falklands Merino and it's absolutely great for gift knits. It's a lovely yarn that I've used before to knit hats and cowls, and perfect for kind of a DK hat like this. This is leftovers from a different hat that I knit. Arbon is a mill in Devon in the UK, so it's really nice and local to me. If you can call Devon local, it's still a few hours away from Surrey here in the UK, but it is still really nice to get some British made yarn, even if it's not wool from Britain. So this is absolutely lovely hat. I love the pattern. It is a free pattern by Petiteknit, so Anka's hat. And I spotted this because I am also knitting Anka's summer shirt, so I'm hoping that it will be a lovely piece to either sell or donate in the winter. Now you'll notice that I still have this on the needles, but I don't have much yarn attached to it, and that is because I played a bit of yarn chicken and I have run out. I think I just have a few more rows to do. So what I've opted to do is, rather than kind of choosing a different colour or a different yarn altogether and finishing off the hat, I've ordered myself a mini skein of this DK yarn from Arbon directly. And you can become a mill member of Arbon, which means you get a freebie skein and you also get a consistent 10% off. And then when the mill is open again, as it's kind of COVID times at the moment, they haven't been, they do a mill members kind of weekend every year where you can go and actually be shown around the mill, which will be really interesting to do at some point. So this is my first work in progress. I will hopefully finish it over the next couple of days, but at the moment it is still a work in progress until I am done. And that one is a hat. And the needles I am knitting this on are 3.25mm, and it's probably smaller than the pattern calls for. I think I'm knitting the medium size. There are different sizes, but I'm going for mostly medium if there's a medium in each of these patterns, because I don't know who these are going to be for, so I figure that's the best way to go. Yeah, so that is work in progress number one. I do absolutely love this blue colour. It's kind of a really light grey blue. And this colour was chosen by my aunt for the hat that I knit her. So I'm really pleased with how it's knitting out, and it's reminding me how much I love this yarn actually, so I have to get some more as well. And there we go. one hat in progress, or almost done. It'll probably take me about 15 minutes to finish off when I do actually finally get the yarn. My second work in progress is also a hat, because I obviously have to have 2 hats on the needles, having been 2 weeks since I last recorded. So this one is the colour block hat by a company called Autumn and Indigo, and this is also a free pattern. You can get it from their website, and it is literally knit to purl one all the way around. I'm knitting this in 2 different colours of Sandnes Garn Peer Gynt. Got the label here, I can show you. This is quite a traditional DK yarn, see that? And it's a Norwegian brand. It's quite a rustic yarn, so it would feel quite scratchy, but I think when you wash it, it'll be quite soft again. This is leftovers from some mittens that I made for my grandmother, and I do have more of the green, so this is when I started a couple of days ago, and again, it shouldn't take me too long to finish off. I've probably got about that much to do, including decreases and the crown shaping, so I think this is looking pretty good. Yeah, so 2x1 rib, and then just the decreases. So I'll obviously link to anything that I've been talking about in this episode in the description box below, so that you can go and have a look for yourself and possibly knit the patterns if you'd like to. So yeah, that is my work in progress number 2, and I'm knitting this on exactly the same size needles, 3.25mm, which seems to be my typical hat needles for DK weight hat yarn. And yeah, this is pretty much just 100% wool, so nothing special, but I think Peer Gynt is still pretty affordable. When I bought it originally, I got a lot of different colours and it wasn't too expensive, so worth checking out if you are conscious of the cost of yarn and you want to buy some standard DK at an affordable price, but it is still 100% wool. So yeah, going for that. I can't remember what the colour names are, but I will pop them in the description if I remember. Let's see, when I'm doing the editing. My next work in progress is one that I have been working on for a couple of weeks, and I am keeping this in my lovely antler and acorn project bag, which I got from my husband for Christmas, and again I'll link to that below. But this is my Ingles sweater by Caitlin Hunter. I think last time I spoke about it on the podcast, I had to rip back to just underneath the yoke, just to make this body section a bit smaller and go down a needle size. But essentially this is, yeah, the Ingles by Caitlin Hunter. I am knitting it in 2 colourways of Madeline Tosh DK Twist, and this is the Red Woman colourway, and the detail on the colourwork yoke is paper. Also Madeline Tosh Twist, which is a yarn I think you can only buy from the Madeline Tosh website in the US, and I bought myself as a gift a couple of years ago. So it's going pretty well. I mean, I have tried it on a couple of times. You can see the yoke is really lovely, and I'm fairly far down the body. As this yarn is superwash merino, I will probably get some stretch out of this, so I don't want to make it too long, so I'm just going to keep trying it on and kind of give myself an idea of the ease, so maybe expect it to be a bit longer than it's showing on when I'm trying it on. So yeah, I'm cracking on with this. I am using helical knitting because this is hand dyed yarn, to stop it from striping or having blocks of one particular shade of the red. So I found that really easy to do once you get the hang of slipping a few stitches and then picking up the next yarn. It's really straightforward. So I'm alternating 2 skeins so that they kind of blend together for the body of this sweater. I am not sure what I'll do for the sleeves. I will probably carry on with helical knitting, although I feel a bit less concerned about the sleeves, because hopefully I'll be able to get a sleeve out of 1 skein at least. Yeah, and because it's DK twist yarn. It's got a high twist, which means that it is usable for sweaters and it will be good long term in terms of wearing, so it's not going to wear out that quickly because it's high twist yarn. But I really do love this, and it looks really nice on and I'm really happy with it so far. I just keep going on the body. I think I've mentioned before, but for new viewers, I do get a little bit bored with stockinette in the round, but for some reason at the moment I'm just being spurred on, and you'll see that in my other project as well. So yeah, getting there. I have opted to not do the lace sections, which are kind of above and below the colour work, just because I don't really like lace that much, especially when it's kind of in the middle of my top. I feel like something see-through means that I have to wear something underneath here, or it will look a bit odd, and then even then seeing that through, I prefer just to have a really nice yoke and omit that lace section over there. I was inspired to knit this by someone called Eliza Trudd on Ravelry, who has knit a Christmas Ingles out of exactly these colours, and essentially I had the yarn already and had a look on Ravelry to see what options I could knit, and this was one of them, and I absolutely fell in love with her one and thought I have to have this. Obviously very Christmassy, white and red, but I think the fact that it's white and red rather than green and red means that people won't make that assumption. For example, if I wear it in the autumn, it's not necessarily going to come across as a Christmas sweater. Obviously I'm not going to be wearing this type of thing in this heat though, so there we go. And I am knitting this using my higher sharp needles that are my kind of preference at the moment, on 3mm needles, so firmly in the 3mm camp in terms of DK yarn. But yeah, this is going to be a lovely sweater and I'm really looking forward to having it done. Yeah, and so close to being done with the body, so really happy about that. I will just quickly show you the yarn in skein. So this is the DK Twist Red Woman colourway, and I love the variation of the kind of darker pops of red and lighter pops of red. And that's the label. Okay, hand dyed in Texas, I believe. This one has 250 yards or 229 meters for 100 grams, and it's just 100% merino wool. Quite straightforward. So yeah, looking forward to having that done. I'm using 2 skeins at a time at the moment. Do still have 3 skeins of the Red Woman colour left, so I think I should be fine for the sleeves. Let's see. I mean, I'm using 2 of these and I've probably got maybe 40 grams of each still left, 30 to 40. So that's what, 60 grams still of yarn. So yeah, I should be able to finish the body with those 2. And I might end up with having a skein left over, which I can use for a hat or something to match. It'll be nice. Yeah. I just love holding it up. There you go. Really enjoying this one at the moment. It's great TV knitting for now. Yeah, like I said, normally I get bored, but for some reason this one, I think because of the slipping of stitches for the helical knitting, it seems to be going quite fast. And there we go. My 4th work in progress I also talked about over the last couple of weeks, but for new viewers, I retrieved a project from one of the drawers in my office, and that is Anka's summer shirt by Petiteknit. So the same designer and same style as my Anka's hat, and this is where I am on this project. So it's not finished, but I have finished the body, and I think it looks great. So I've tried this on. I decided that after I'd finished the body I would block it. So I washed it and then hung it up to dry, just to see how it sits, to see if I needed to redo any part of it. The bottom's a bit wobbly, but I can probably steam block it and it will be fine. So yeah, this is knit in 100% linen, which is Ankiwoo. by Terrarium Natura, which is probably my favourite yarn creator. So that's, yeah, so Ankiwoo, which is a sport weight linen yarn in the colour Pamplemousse, which I absolutely love. So I've knit the body so far out of 2 and a very tiny bit of yarn, so I had to, annoyingly, I have some ends going on in the ribbing here because I ran out of the ball with one more row to go and to bind off. Typical. But yeah, it is a really great length having tried it on, and now all I need to do is knit the sleeves. So I think that will be just above my elbow, so probably about 3 inches of sleeves, and then it will be ready to wear. And I have been absolutely powering through this one, basically because I really want to be able to wear it over the summer in this heat, and I've actually really enjoyed working with the linen yarn. I've been using bamboo needles so that it doesn't just slip off my metal ones, and I've been using quite a small size relative to the pattern. I don't think the pattern itself calls for linen, 100% linen yarn, but basically I did a few swatches and I could see that it was going to be very, very gappy at the larger needle size, so I went down a few sizes. Again, I'll double check what that is, that needle size is, and pop it in the description. But yeah, absolutely powered through. The yoke is really lovely to knit. This yarn is absolutely gorgeous, although it feels very, very different to wool. It's much stiffer, I would say, as a yarn, but it produces this really light and airy fabric that is great for summer, and it means I can knit myself something in the summer, which is great. That isn't a massive woolen thing. So yeah, I'm a big fan of trying out different yarns, and this has been a fantastic opportunity to do that. I highly recommend this pattern. It's interesting because it's a yoke up to here and then you do raglan increases, so it's kind of a combo style. She has loads and loads of different patterns using this same yoke, which is really interesting actually. I might try and knit the cardigan or the jumper at some point, but I don't know how different it is because it's basically the same yoke and I think it's raglan underneath as well. I'm wondering whether it's worth me trying to adapt this pattern instead. We'll see, I'll have a go at some point. I have enough sweaters really on my list to knit before I venture into knitting something else again. So yeah, really happy with this. Just show you, it isn't very, very even, but I don't think it really matters. It's quite hard to make linen stitches even overall. But yeah, there's a couple of bits where it looks a bit more loose than otherwise, but yeah, I guess I could always, again, steam block those sections and just pull them a bit and see if they even out again. Yeah, really, I should have this done very, very soon. And that's really interesting. There's some balloons flying away over there. So yeah, pleased with that so far, especially because I seem to have just knit the body so fast. I think I was just past the yoke last time, so a couple of weeks powering through on this one. And I love the colour for summer as well. It's a great colour. I will probably have to wear a camisole underneath just because it is very see-through, but it's perfect, light and flowy for the summer season. So next up is yarn dyeing, and I spent a bit of time on Friday dyeing some yarn in the afternoon, trying some new techniques again. So the first one I'm gonna show is this yarn here, and this is a really interesting one. It is superwash and non-superwash merino, and what has been done is that they've been plied together, and this is a really lovely colour vermilion by Jacquard acid dyes, and then also my burgundy colour, which I've made up myself over the top. But let me see if you can see this. I think this section is the best, because the non-superwash yarn doesn't kind of pull the colour in as much. You get a kind of barber pole effect where one strand is darker than the rest, which looks really cool, and I really do want to try and dye some more of this yarn. This one was bought from dtcrafts.co.uk, and I'm quite impressed with how it's turned out. It's just this lovely, lovely pink, some darker bits and some lighter bits. I do just absolutely love this colour, definitely a good one. So yeah, I'm hoping we'll be able to knit something very nice with this. I'm keeping this one. Lots of them I'm quite happy to give away to my friends, but I'll keep this one because it has such a cool effect. And yeah, this is just fingering weight, all 4-ply yarn. So yeah, that was my number one experiment. The second one I was doing was trying to do some speckles in a different way again. So what I did here was actually use up some dye that I had left over, so just in a really light colour and some water, that I put to one side. So I did that to dye the base, this lovely kind of light blue, greeny, turquoisey colour. And then what I did after that was I mixed up, I think it was blue and turquoise and Kelly green in a pot, just some dyes with some citric acid. Mix that all together and then just kind of shook that over the top of the yarn. And it has, some places I've been a bit heavy-handed to be honest, but it has made some really lovely speckles, and I think where it's hit all together it's made a kind of teal colour, but if I can show you that, you'll be able to see that it's got speckles of different colours, and I really like the pops of Kelly green, the bright green in there, that's showing up there. So I just speckled over the top of that. It'll be interesting to see how this knits up. There's some more of the green just coming out. But it's interesting that it kind of blends together a lot of the time into this kind of teal. And then other times it really breaks apart. Yeah, I've got one big blue section there. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. This was a request from a friend, so I'll probably end up giving this to her. We'll see if she wants it. Yeah, be nice. And this is just 75/25 merino nylon, and this was bought from yarnundyed.net, and yeah, the merino nylon is fairly affordable. As undyed yarn, I can understand why most yarn dyers use that as a base, but yeah, it's also a lovely base for the colour and for speckling especially. Really works quite well. You can see all the colours there. So yeah, that is another one. And then I wanted to just check what shade this purple came out as. So this is Jacquard Acid Dyes purple, and I had a violet I think before, but this is just a really, really nice purple yarn, and you do get the variation because hand dyeing is never going to be 100% consistent. So yeah, just thought I'd dye this as my purple to try it out, and I think I will be knitting something up out of this as well. So lovely shade of kind of plummy purple, which I like much better than the kind of light purpley colour. And then I also dyed some mini skeins. So I am trying to get the perfect shade of green and the perfect shade of gold on non-superwash yarn for a friend of mine who is going to knit a sweater. And these are the superwash versions of the colour. So this is the green. Hopefully you can see that. It's quite bright today, so look, that's the green, and then this is the gold colour. I think this gold is amazing. This was an accident originally, this colourway, but I absolutely love it, so I keep dyeing it as well. So those are the superwash skeins that I'm trying to create in non-superwash yarn, and I'll show you two of these first. So in the non-superwash yarn that I dyed the other day, which is exactly what I'm going to be using for the sweater itself when I dye the yarn, these are the colours that I'm getting. So yeah, I did an experiment a couple of weeks ago with some slightly different yarn, and I wasn't sure whether it was going to affect the colour. So yeah, that's the difference between superwash and non-superwash yarn, and how it shows out up. This is much lighter, and then the gold, again, it looks incredibly yellow, so not as dark at all. So yeah, super light colour. So it's really interesting to be doing these trials. So I thought the first thing I would do was just use the recipe that I had, and then my friend can actually have a look at all the options and work out what she wants. And then what I did for the other two that I've got is I actually tried to darken the recipe. So I added more black and more gunmetal to these. So the green is getting closer. So that is the difference with those ones. Getting there. And then the gold is also getting closer, although it's not quite as vibrant a gold as the superwash yarn, but I think it's a much closer yarn. So I've written down the recipes, and then I'll see what she thinks of these mini skeins that I'll let her kind of have a go and knit with. This is actually wound off from one of the skeins that I bought for her sweater, so it can kind of be part of the process really. And we'll see what she decides on, whether she wants me to add kind of more green maybe into the green, or more gold, more of the ochre colour into the gold. I will see, although I think that will just make it more yellow. I think I've got mostly pumpkin actually. Pumpkin orange is the main component of this. How ridiculous is that? It's definitely not pumpkin orange, it's definitely a gold. So yeah, going well. I'm really pleased that I tried to do the darker versions because I think they are much closer, and I'll just have to see what her thoughts are tomorrow actually. Yeah, but I just keep admiring this gold. It's not really my colour to wear, but it's just beautiful. I want to keep dyeing it. And then I also ended up with some leftovers of dye that I've used up. So I ended up with this lovely green colour, which I think is kind of an acid green. I think it actually goes really nicely with this pink. And also the purple. So yeah, the acid green was a bit of the gold and a bit of the green, I think, so mixed together. And then I've got these two lovely colours. So pink, which was leftovers from the vermilion and burgundy, which is actually a really nice corally pink. And then a light purple, which was actually over dyed. So I had this as kind of a lavendery colour, and I've just used up the rest of the purple for that. So I've got some lovely spring yarns. Okay. And that is everything that I have been up to in the last couple of weeks, because I did go to Unravel last weekend. However, I recorded a separate episode just to show my haul on that, so please do check that out if you're interested. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, as that really helps my visibility, and otherwise I will see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have been enjoying the content that I've been producing. Bye, have a lovely weekend.